Since the announcement of the Switch 2, Nintendo has had the world in a chokehold, and everybody's excited, and also has some problems with pricing for the Switch 2. And so if you're like me, you're definitely excited, but I have some thoughts on the Switch 2 from what I've been seeing from videos and demonstrations and Digital Foundry and stuff like that. Not super technical, but some thoughts nonetheless. And so finally, we're gonna get to see our Nintendo IPs in 4K. So you're talking about Mario Kart, forget all of those. I'm talking about Pokemon. Man, I'm a 90s guy, so Pokemon in 4K is like chef's kiss, and just for that, I'm gonna get this thing, right? So I'm excited for that. And I think it's awesome that they finally got in tune with the rest of the world in 2025. So shout out to them on that. I think that the 8-inch screen on the Switch 2 is dope. Puts it up there with these handheld PCs like the Legion Go's of the world. And it's actually a bigger screen than some of the most popular ones like the ROG Ally X and Steam Deck. So there's that. I think that the voice and the video chat stuff is really, really cool, but let's see how good it actually works, because let's be honest, Nintendo's online infrastructure is pretty trash, from online play to, depending on the game, to even the eShop, right? So the eShop moves like crap, super slow, super delayed, laggy, terrible experience. So I'm hoping they hook that up on that side of things and they actually boost up their online infrastructure. But I am excited. I'm excited for the voice chat. I'm excited for the video capabilities. People are upset that you have to buy a camera and all this stuff, but you have to buy a camera on the PlayStation. You have to buy a camera on the PS5. Sorry, not the PS5, on PC. So it's the same thing. And supposedly you can use other compatible cameras as well. So there's that. We'll see how that plays out. One of the things I'm not so crazy about is the battery life. And so I feel like the Switch 1 revolutionized the entire handheld gaming industry in 2017. Were they the first ones to have a handheld type of device like this? No, but they definitely revolutionized it. That's when we started to see Asus, Lenovo, and now MSI making all these handheld devices, the One X Fly, the Aya Neo, all of these things. Let me not even get into that rabbit hole, but the battery life has caught up in terms of like different iterations of these PC handhelds, where it was the first Steam Deck, right? That thing maybe gave you 2 hours, and that was horrible. But that's what it's looking like for the Switch 2. It's looking like it's gonna give you a good 2 hours on battery, and then you'll have to rely on the charger. So I'm not really super happy about that, if I'm being honest. And Nintendo's devices are not known to be good with third-party chargers. I know people use them, but I personally use a third-party charger on one of my Switch Lites, and it just cooked the thing. So there's that. PC handhelds like the Steam Deck, the ROG Ally, depending on the game, they'll run well over 3 to 4 hours, 5 hours even. So maybe 5 hours is pushing it, I'll be honest, but it gives you enough time where you sit down and you don't get that notification telling you that your battery's about to die. It sucks. It's a terrible gaming experience from a handheld gaming perspective. And if you bought the first Switch in 2017, the V1, it was the same thing. It was a horrible battery. It died right away, and the battery just zapped fast. So I'm not looking forward to that, but we're gonna take it how it comes, and it is what it is. The next thing, and I do have some notes here, guys, so if I'm looking down, the next thing is the upgrading aspect. So the whole thing about having to upgrade because there's a Switch 2 version. If you already have the Switch 1 version, then you can pay for an upgrade. That's a whole bunch of crap, honestly. And they probably said, hey, PlayStation's doing it, we should do it too, why not? We're Nintendo. So not to mention the price of the device, how the gaming community is reacting to the pricing of everything about the Switch 2 in general. So there's a lot of things with pricing that is not gelling right now, but it is what it is. I think the Switch 2 is going to sell regardless. People are going to buy it. Let's be honest. People are going to swipe their credit cards. And I don't advise putting it on a credit card if you can't pay for it, right? But people are gonna do that anyway. People are gonna be buying this thing and it's gonna sell regardless of the number with where it's at right now, at least. So I think if they set up it's 600 bucks, it's not gonna sell. But so one thing I do like, however, is the GameCube. Like I said, I'm a 90s baby, and so I grew up with the GameCube. I'm actually looking at my GameCube with the Game Boy player and Fire Red in there. And I do have, I recently bought Pokemon and XD Gale of Darkness just last year on eBay. I had to donate one of my livers for it, but was I a little bit salty when I saw that those were coming to the Switch 2 through the expansion pack? Not really. I'm happy that people will be able to play those. I'm happy to play those on the Switch so that I don't have to use my 20-year-old physical copies on the GameCube. And I'm really looking forward to that. But again, you need to pay for that, and it's only gonna be on Switch 2. So it's one of those things where it's like, all right, maybe I'll wait for the Switch 2, but if I wanna do something like GameCube, then I'll have to fork out the money for that. So another part of the video that I wanted to mesh with this one is just, I think the Switch 1 is still gonna be very viable, just for the simple fact that the Switch OLED is still a really nice device, has the OLED screen, has a huge library, and the battery life on it. I love the battery life on the OLED. So everything about the OLED is just way more of a complete version of the Switch. And I think for those reasons, I'm still gonna be holding on to my Switch OLEDs and my Switches. I have around 4 Switch OLEDs. Don't ask me why, but I was thinking about trading in maybe 1 or 2 of them just to get some credit. And so once I saw that the battery life was ass, and I saw that it's not an OLED screen, I'm definitely gonna hold on to the Switch 1. I'm trying to get into more games like fitness boxing on the TV, so I'll just leave that in there. So guys, I think, oh, one more thing. I think it sucks that Nintendo doesn't integrate achievements. It's great that they finally have the voice chat, the video chat, all this stuff. That's awesome. It's nice to see that a lot of AAA games are coming to the Switch too. There's not gonna be this alienation of games coming to the Switch 2 like you saw with the Switch 1 and Wii U and stuff like that. It looks like everything for the most part is gonna be coming. So let's say Persona 3 Reload, Street Fighter, maybe Call of Duty, who knows? That will be very interesting to see. But I think Nintendo finally needs to grow up and put some damn achievements into the platform. I don't know about you guys, I like achievements because it just makes it into a goal, right? If you care about that stuff, if you don't, then whatever. I know people that can care less about achievements, but I know people on the flip side, and even Facebook groups, and there's a huge community of achievement hunters, trophy hunters, whatever, PC, PlayStation, Xbox. And I'm one of those guys. I'm not a huge collector of them. I'm not great at hoarding them, but it is something I've gotten into recently that I've found enjoyable in gaming. And Nintendo has achievements, but within their own games. So that's not the same to me. It's cool, it's in there, but it's not something that stacks up and you can compare with your friends and stuff like that. I like all of that. So let me know if you like that kind of stuff, if you don't care about achievements. But in a nutshell, guys, I'm still gonna get the Switch 2. I'm still super excited for it. Am I gonna get AAA games for it, third-party AAA games for it, like Cyberpunk and stuff like that? No. I think those games still fit better on PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X. I mean, let's be honest. So I don't know if the Switch 2 is gonna be the place where I buy the big titles like Monster Hunter Wilds, right? I'm not gonna get that for the Switch 2. I'd rather get that on somewhere like PlayStation. And that's just a personal thing, because I want achievements and I want more power from these games. But the Switch 2 does have a lot of power. It's looking sick, honestly. And I can't wait for Pokemon ZA. I don't really care for Mario Kart, stuff like that, but it looks fun, I'll be honest. So guys, that's pretty much it. I appreciate you guys for sticking with me this long. If you are getting the Switch 2 or you're not getting the Switch 2, let me know in the comment section below. It's about to change everything for Nintendo, so let's see how it plays out. So I'll leave my friend code in the description, and you guys can add me if you want to add me. We'll connect from there. So appreciate you guys, and take care. Later.